So I think we have to talk about China, because usually when you think about Chinese brands, you all think about imitations or knockoff other brands. But lately, this is not the case anymore, because Chinese products, actually Chinese companies, are leading the innovation with cars, electric cars, with AI, with foldable phones, with phones in general. And I think we have to discuss a bit more about this country and the innovation that is leading. So I want to start this video by saying that I know China firsthand because I did business with China in the past as well for the businesses that I do. And in the 80s, 90s, historically, China has always been known for being the manufacturing part of companies. So if they needed something to be built, of course, they will send everything to Chinese companies that would actually do that. And of course, Chinese companies mostly were copying and trying to imitate big brands in general. And this was the main thing that China was doing. But then at the beginning of the 2000s, actually China was starting investing in research and development. This is a key factor because they transitioned from being mostly the engine of the world, so the factory of the world. Specifically, if you want to think about electronics, Shenzhen is the main hub, even in China, where most of the electronics are made. Even if you buy something today, 90% of the times is made in Shenzhen. So that is one city, for example, that always been known for making, for example, electronics in this case. But China in general, that was the factory of the world. Everything was made there. And there were not that much innovation coming up from China because, of course, their business model that they had was just trying to find customers to build stuff for them. But when I was in China, and last time I was there was 2019, so before COVID, I was noticing something different, like a shift even in the way business people were looking at products or in business in general. To be more specific, I remember being in the car because, as you know, China is huge, and if you have to travel from one part of the city to the other part of the city, it might be 2-3 hours drive, and to be in the same district, it's not a joke, it's actually for real. And I was blown away even just for this. I remember looking at the brand of the car, BYD. And I asked them, like, what is this brand? Because I've never seen that car before. I'm passionate about cars, and I didn't see that car before. And I was like, what is this brand? They were like, oh, this is our brand. It's called BYD. It's actually translated, Build Your Dreams. But I remember asking this to my business partner over there, and she was like saying it with probably the best word to describe it is being patriotic. Like, she was proud of this brand. And this is, I think, something we have to think about. Because again, they're transitioning from being just a factory to actually making stuff from scratch and again, investing in research and development. This means they're leading innovation because they have everything built within the country. Let me give you some more specific facts about China and about labor there. So to start, right now, as of today, labor is cheaper in Mexico compared to China. So this means that if you want to build something or have something built in Mexico, it's actually cheaper than China. In fact, I don't know if you're aware of this, but there was a plan to build a huge factory in Mexico related to cars because they wanted to build cars in Mexico. And that I think is being blocked. I don't know if Trump is involved. He said he wasn't involved in blocking the construction of this huge factory in Mexico. But why they did it there instead of course, logistically is closer to the US, but also because the labor is cheaper in Mexico than is in China. That's crazy to think about because, again, if you think about 10 years ago, that was not the case at all. Another thing that you might not know about China is that when you buy something and if you go to a supplier, first of all, you have to always to contract on the price. That is something you always do, and that's fine. The next thing is you need to be aware they usually have 3 tiers of products. So they have the standard, so the low-end products. There's actually the cheapest option that you can buy. Then you have the mid-range. So it's not the highest quality, but it's not the cheapest quality. So it's a good compromise like on price and, of course, the quality of the product. And then you have the higher tier. So you go and work with high-end factories where you can actually build high-end products, and of course the price is more expensive. And usually people don't choose this option because if they want to do that, usually they build it in specific, Europe or the US, North America, whatever the case may be. But the problem is, and this is something that I discovered again during COVID specifically, is even if you say, I don't want to build this in China, I want to build it in Europe, because in that time we would do a made in Italy, for example, you still are dependent from China, because small components that go even into handmade or whatever the case is, products still have Chinese components. So in a way, even if you're not building 100% of the product, you're building maybe 80% in another country, but you still need some things built in China. So they know that, and that's why they're always in the market. They will always be in the market, because the world is dependent on them producing specific product in specific categories. But one thing that I want to say here, so actually two things. The first one, if you ever been to China, and if you probably experience the culture there, I'm not saying the touristic places of China. I went to the business district, so I didn't see any European people there. Just Chinese people everywhere. So I was the only one, and I remember being in the train, and the kids were approaching me and trying to speak English. But the thing is, if you go and experience the culture, one thing that you notice is that you feel like they don't need anyone. Like they don't need us, in a way that they don't need us to build stuff, because they can do it themselves. Because of course they do it for other countries, and they make everything there. So again, if you need electronic parts, you're not going to other countries. You're going to Shenzhen, for example. I mean, I was mostly dealing with electronics, so that's why I'm mentioning Shenzhen a lot. I was working there a lot, so I know Shenzhen specifically. But you have the feeling that they don't need anyone. So they are self-sufficient. They can build whatever they want, and they don't need us, so, other countries, to build stuff in China. One other thing that I want to mention is, this is true, but there are still things that they can produce, but it's not high quality. Specifically, milk and chocolate, for example. I know it sounds weird, but yeah, usually they mostly import milk and chocolate from countries, because of course the quality is higher. They make it in China, but it's not the same quality. And of course the cosmetics. So there's a huge market in import cosmetics, chocolate and milk in China, because they need these products because of the quality. They cannot match. If I'm making chocolate in Switzerland, if I'm making food in Italy, you won't be able to copy it in China, because there's no way you have access to the same quality of air, the quality even of the ground, whatever the case may be. You know what I mean. So they still need some things, but those are not, things they need to survive. Let's put it that way. So they're self-sufficient. They can produce whatever they want. And again, if you go there, you feel like they don't need us. They don't need anyone. They can, manage themselves and do whatever they want. And this is the key aspect of this video. Why? Because if you're thinking about it, once they master the techniques, so once they know specifically how, I'm mentioning now a brand just to give you an idea, no? So let's say, and this is something that actually happened. So if you're working with, Gucci, okay? You learn from Gucci people how to make the product, and you work with them with years, then you are able not to make, of course, the same exact product, but you learn the techniques to make a good product. Of course, the materials to make something are the main thing, but still you can learn the techniques and make something that can be matched with high-end products. Of course, when it comes to fashion and these things, it's a bit complicated, but when it comes to electronics, and this is where we're seeing a lot of innovation, and this is what I want to lead this video to, we are seeing huge things coming out of China. The last thing is the last threefold Huawei phone. That thing is just crazy. Of course, it doesn't work here in North America. It doesn't work. I think it works in Europe, because Huawei there can sell phones. But still, that is just a testament to how much they're investing in research and development. And now they're not scared to test new things into the market. I think Western companies are innovating less because they're comfortable in their position. But Chinese people, this is just culturally, They're not like that. Their culture is work, and they just want to work and be better and grow and expand and innovate. And this is what we're actually seeing. Again, Huawei is doing this with the phones, but of course we are seeing this even with AI. China is huge in AI as well, because of course they want to make the best AI possible for them for these specific reasons, but still they're investing into things that are allowing the country as a whole to grow. But again, I want to give you some more information in regards to, for example, let's take technology as an example, right? So we have Huawei that I just said, they're making foldable phones. Then we have the AI revolution that is there as well. And the government is actually investing in AI companies as well. I'm leaving out the information, all the article linked below, so you'll be able to read this information as well, so you can see where I'm getting my facts from. But I wrote this down. The government is willing to support the tech industry with a massive investment that is around 1.4 trillion between 2020 and 2025, so between next year as well. Now we actually started seeing some of the results of these investments. For example, then we have Xiaomi that is again leading the market. We have electric cars coming out from these companies as well. So we are noticing a shift in innovation. They're not coming from Western companies anymore. I think Tesla is one of the companies that is leading innovation in some ways, but it's not even close to these Chinese companies that are bringing actually new things to the market, right? So this is something we need to understand. They have their work ethic, so they want to make good things and good stuff and make the companies grow. They are supported by the government, which is willing to invest in these companies. Of course, the government owns most of everything there, because we know everybody knows how China works, but still they're able to succeed in businesses, and then they can export as well these new technologies in other parts of the world. That's a big deal, because China is leading in specific fields, right? So this is something we have to start thinking about, because if we are, as a Western world, let's define ourselves like Western world, so happy and so fired up because Apple adds button on a phone just to work as a camera, I think we are not going to win the future. The reason why I made that video a few weeks back when I was complaining about the lack of innovation is because of this. If we demand, as consumers demand from companies, they will invest and they will innovate, and we will keep innovating elite innovation. If we keep focusing again on adding a button or releasing headphones after 4 years just with new colors and USB-C, and that is innovation, I think we are just not going to win the future. Because again, we are seeing what China is capable of. We see how China is growing. Again, they don't need us. They can keep growing. They can keep making good stuff, better stuff, and we are just left behind. That is just the way things are going nowadays. So I really think that in order to win the future, we will need start investing in research and development. We will need, as consumers, to start demanding more from these companies, because we want good stuff. We want, innovation that enhanced our lives. So I'm not just talking about because we want the latest and greatest because we are greedy. I'm saying because innovation doesn't come just from a new phone. Innovation is, of course, innovation in the medical field can help people, with diseases or whatever the case may be. It comes into infrastructure, streets and building streets. I remember during COVID, China built an hospital, I think in a couple of days or 3 days. I don't remember. I remember that my business partner sent me the link to the live stream. We're live streaming everything. I don't remember this, how many days, but it was just a crazy number. They just did it in so little. And that, again, you can see where there's a will, there is a way. And I think, again, we just think, oh, we are fine because we have Google, we have Apple, we will keep making better stuff than anybody else. But I don't think that's the case, specifically because I'm Italian. And in Italy, for example, we always think that we are the best country in the world, which I think in a way we could be, but we're not anymore, because we are not taking advantage of or what we have to offer to the world, for example. So to finish up this video, otherwise I could keep going talking for a long time. What I'm trying to say here is China is actually leading the revolution. Now is releasing products that the latest and greatest. And we have to understand where they come from, because again, 10, 15 years ago, they were just making stuff. Now they are leading the market. And that's a huge jump in just 15 years. And I really think they will keep doing this for the next few years if we don't wake up and start making good stuff as well. Because we have really brilliant minds working for these huge corporations, but these huge corporations are giving priority to revenue instead of giving priority to innovation. Because they see just the immediate, profit they can get because they want to make the investors happy, instead of seeing, if I lead the innovation in one specific field, I can make money, for a lot of years to come. So that's my point of view. If you want to say in a business way, even as a tech enthusiast as well. But yeah, this is what I think. Again, having the opportunity as well to live China firsthand, I can tell you for a fact that they will innovate as they're doing today. So this is it for this video. Let me know if you have any questions. Let me know if you have any point of view, what you think, if you have experience with the Chinese market, in the Chinese economy as well, in the Chinese field, whatever it is. I'm just curious to know what you think about this. As you know, I like to have an interaction with you guys so we can create an interactive community as well. With that said, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you very soon in my next video.